I was working for a delivery company, driving a bob truck. Me and one of my co-workers, decided to pull over to the store, grabbed us a few drinks. While we were driving down the street, a guy decided to run a stop sign. The experience I can give you is that it's like when if you ever hit a deer, deer run out in front of you. So that car came out in front of us, man, and before I knew it, I couldn't hit brakes or anything. So our drinks went everywhere. And dialed 911, didn't know how bad the stint was. So once the police officers came there, they was like, with this magnitude of an accident, we got to take you down and draw blood. So of course my heart got to beating fast. I'm like, oh my God, oh wow, just had those drinks or whatnot. And we get to the station and they weren't able to draw blood. They had to do a breathalyzer. I was the driver at the time, and my helpers, they was panicking too, but all I can remember is just praying to God and asking God, you get me out of this one. I just really would, I'm done with everything. At the time I wasn't married, To me, that's when I became a Jesus follower, I was born and raised, in the church and all that, but, it wasn't until that experience, a personal experience, I guess a awakening that happened for me, that I just decided to say, well, you know what, Lord, I'm gonna live for you, I'm gonna get my life right, I'm gonna get married, this and that. And now I think about it, here I am today, living for him. It was kind of like instilled in me at an early age, to be an entrepreneur. And mainly my brother that has the barber college, I can remember in the 10th grade, he came to me one day. He was like, man, what are you going to do when you graduate? So I'm like, I don't know, So he picked me up from high school and he was riding me around and he pulled out this big wad of money. I'm like, man, what you do? He's like, I did this from cutting hair. I'm like, really? You made that? So that kind of inspired me, to get into the haircutting business, You hear all kinds of conversations in the barbershop, different types of beliefs. So God laid it on my wife's heart to buy these chalkboards, So at the time when she bought them, I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm like, what am I going to do with a chalkboard, And one day a gentleman came in and we were talking and God was laying on my heart to pray with him, but I didn't do it. So later on that week, I found out he had got locked up for a charge, this or that, whatever. So I called my friend that brought him over. He was like, hey man, so-and-so got locked up. I'm like, really? So I was like, man, I was supposed to pray with that brother, And fast forward, I was like, you know what? God dropped it in my mind to, use those chalkboards, because I was like, wow, that guy was in my presence and I never knew what was going on with them. So the chalkboard scene kind of came in to kind of allow people to come in and read them. Sometimes I might have something on there that's, that they could relate to kind of get them to open up. So I was like, wow, had I had something on that board, it maybe could have stopped him from getting arrested. He could have opened up and started talking to somebody. Somebody could have gave him some type of positive influence. So ever since that day, I just kind of start using those chalkboards to, just put different things on there that people feel comfortable talking about. It just makes me think about, the death and the resurrection, the fact that, Jesus paid the price for my sin, and I know he paid the price for everyone's sin, but I kind of take it personal, and just look at the fact that he died for my sin. And, I really appreciate the fact that he did that. And by him doing it, it makes me want to tell others about him. I often use the analogy of, if I hear about a good restaurant or a good place, I'm always going to tell people about it. So I'm like, okay, this is the natural side. Why not help them in the afterlife?